Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wild. Today we're going back into TikTok with trying to get their drivers robbed and scammed. TikToker says DoorDash's new cash policy is putting drivers at risk. If it hasn't been introduced to your market yet, I totally understand. But this has been something that's been circulated. Now, cash on delivery orders are 100% possible to end up in your area. This is where you would actually have to receive cash from the customer in order to complete the delivery. The subtotal order as well as the tip you might receive. There's been a lot of concerns with this overall between the robberies, the customers scamming DoorDash, or pretty much stiffing drivers. There has been a rising concern with this. With that said, I want to go over her arguments on the subject. I want to go over my opinions on the subject, see how it actually is. With that said, let's get started. In a viral video posted over the weekend, TikToker Alex serves tea, accused DoorDash of putting drivers at risk of being mugged, among other issues, with its new cash upon delivery payment policy. So I'm going to leave a link to the TikToker as well as the TikTok in the description, so she gets credit for this. Again, yeah, this raises a concern for mugging, and a lot of ladies in the gig economy went into DoorDash because they have more safety because they're interacting with less overall people. Instead of dealing with coworkers and an HR department that doesn't support them, they're dealing with food. Instead of dealing with rideshare and people entering their personal space, the only thing entering their car is food. And not to mention, you can make a lot of money with DoorDash and with all these other apps. So there is a lot of possibility with this. That being said, this kind of puts more of a target on the back of drivers because now they know there's cash. Before, we didn't handle cash much because everything was done digitally. So the concept of getting cash was minimal. Either way, I do carry fives and singles on me in the event that I do need to make change, but either way, it's still fewer and further between. Now there's going to be a pretty big target on the back of drivers, especially with all these shootings and crimes that have been happening within the gig economy. DoorDash's new policy allows delivery drivers to accept cash in addition to payment via credit card. According to DoorDash's website, delivery drivers will have the cash amount they receive from customers deducted from their next paycheck. All right, so a lot of people will think that there is going to be theft from DoorDash with this, and it is 100% possible. I'm going to leave a link in the description for the video I made about how cash on delivery works, in case there's a certain level of confusion on the subject. Most people are opting out of it to begin with, but it is something to think about. In her video, which by Monday had been viewed over 30,000 times, says that she spoke with a DoorDash delivery driver and they're not for the new policy. I don't think any drivers for the new policy. They said that it increases the chances of drivers getting mugged, the TikToker says. Also, they said that the only reason DoorDash is doing this is so that restaurants will partner with them without having to sign a contract so they can do cash only. There is also the argument that customers will have another option when it comes to payment method. There is also the argument of there are certain restaurants that were there were websites made by DoorDash in their name to actually have their food delivered on DoorDash, and they weren't having it. They did not want that because it would affect their brands. Like, why would we want to have our orders delivered by an external party that we don't want to be a part of, especially when we have our own drivers, or we just don't, we already have enough volume as it is. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, but restaurants want all the volume they can get. Not when it's actually hindering their ability to get the jobs they have to have done. So that's already an issue. That's number one. Number two, customers also have the opportunity to order on DoorDash when they're more of a cash in hand kind of people anyway. And let's be real, customers are already making the argument for a long time that tips are for after the delivery, not before. Is this going to cause more fraud? Yes, but I'm not sure how much fraud. It's probably going to be a lot, though. The TikToker also alleges that restaurants have been canceling their memberships with DoorDash because DoorDash hasn't been paying them. Not only DoorDash hasn't been paying a lot of restaurants because when they miss one item and they lose the value of the entire order, that's a little ridiculous. In some cases, they actually have money stolen from them. In fact, there was this one restaurant in New York City that lost $50,000. I'm gonna leave the link to that video in the description as well in case you haven't heard about it. We know how much they love to steal from people, Alex says of DoorDash. And you know what's crazy about this? They get away with it like all the time, and the feds have not done anything truly effective. Between stealing from merchants, stealing from customers, stealing from drivers, it's so often that no one's actually shutting them down. I really do believe it's only a matter of time before they actually just say, all right, enough's enough. You're done. DoorDash told the Daily Dot that its cash acceptance policy is a pilot program for businesses that request drivers, and that drivers are never forced to accept cash orders when they don't want to or don't have change. DoorDash said to opt in, delivery drivers have to confirm multiple times that they want to accept a cash order, and they can opt out at any time with no penalty. This pilot program has been going on for a while. I do want to be clear. It's just making more everything nowadays. There was one time I took a Papa John's pizza order in New York, and it was a cash on delivery. I didn't lose any money, but it just felt wrong doing it because I was a pizza delivery driver as well as a DoorDash driver, and I feel like I was going back to those days. So it felt a little backwards to me. And I know there's going to be argument that says DoorDash is the backwards one. What are you talking about? And I know, but because DoorDash was backwards in that way, we were able to make money and we were able to have opportunities that we don't have now. I feel like cash on delivery is kind of taking away from that. We know that many under and unbanked consumers have fewer delivery options because they lacked access to digital payment methods. A DoorDash spokesperson told the Daily Dot in an email statement, as they have historically, many merchants would like the option to accept cash for their deliveries, and many Dashers appreciate the immediate access to cash. This voluntary limited pilot is designed to address these needs. There's a whole lot of wrong being said here, so let me break it down. Underbanked and unbanked consumers. This is the same argument that they made for Dasher Direct. Like, this is why Dasher Direct came out. And while it's not the same thing giving banking access to customers, what this is DoorDash finding more opportunities to steal from other people. Personally, if I were you, I would not be taking any cash on delivery, but that's your decision. If you want the immediate access to cash, that's your choice. As far as many merchants would like the option to accept cash for their deliveries, I know that there's a lot of cash businesses. Still, not all restaurants or merchants are actually doing things by the book, if you know what I mean. So having more cash options wouldn't be bad, but I would still be concerned if I... Commenters on Alex's video raised other potential issues that drivers could face when accepting cash deliveries. What if they get a counterfeit bill? User Alyssa Halb commented. That's actually a good point, and I didn't think about that. I remember being in the retail banking space, and I got a huge deposit from a merchant. Hinder any privacy laws. Let's just say I was working in a retail bank and I was working with a merchant. This merchant ended up receiving a counterfeit bill, and that counterfeit bill ended up coming to us. And because of this, we had to confiscate the bill and write it up that they actually ended up trying to deposit a $100 bill that was counterfeit. Does it happen often enough so where it's a major concern? I think in this industry, it'll be a big enough concern, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that. Or people who just refuse to pay when you get there. Leroy Jenkins 4 wrote, yeah, that's what we in the business call stiffed. That's when you get stiffed, is when you get there and they don't want to pay you. What if they get stiffed? The driver keep the food? Actually, in the cash on delivery video, I actually said, yeah, you get to keep the food. With regard to delivery driver safety, DoorDash said that the drivers have access to SafeDash, which connects drivers to the police and ADT security services. DoorDash also said that if cash customers don't pay in full, drivers' pay is not affected. So if they stiff you, you get the food for free. SafeDash isn't going to do anything. Like, I actually made a video breaking down SafeDash. I know I'm plugging a lot today, but these are all relevant videos to this subject. Link in the description. Even if you used SafeDash, it's not effective for drivers as a whole. Dashers still receive payment for every order, including 100% of their tips, and can always choose whether or not to accept cash on delivery orders if they prefer. Well, the fact that we can decline is always a good thing. A user who said she previously worked for DoorDash and said she stopped delivering for the company after someone pulled a gun on her. Oh my goodness. Seems like DoorDash is trying to get their drivers robbed and scammed, the user at BLQ Bunny wrote. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. Cash on delivery is a bad idea. As a whole, I don't think it makes sense to even consider cash on delivery, especially since it'll put a much bigger target on your back, especially since it jeopardizes the safety of drivers. You don't have to actually accept cash on delivery orders for that target to be on your back. It's the perception of cash on delivery orders that is already an issue. And we're entering an economy where inflation is high. Well, we're already in the economy where inflation is high, but where economic challenges are only going to rise from here. Are you kidding me? I think it's a dumb decision on DoorDash's part. I think drivers have the right instinct to be scared is 100% valid. I also think it's the responsibility for you as a driver to decline any order that says cash on delivery. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.